report I received today is a monumental document in more ways than one. But it is a very, very important piece of America's history, and it will shape America's future in ways that will make us a more honorable, more successful, and more ethical country. What this committee learned, I would like to review today with a little more detail than Dr. Fraden said, because I think it must be engraved on our national memory. Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. The goal was to understand the effects of radiation exposure on the human body. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted. They failed both the test of our national values and the test of humanity. Informed consent means your doctor tells you the risk of the treatment you are about to undergo. In too many cases, informed consent was withheld. Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret, and they were shrouded not for a compelling reason of national security, but for the simple fear of embarrassment, and that was wrong. So today, on behalf of another generation of American leaders and another generation of American citizens, the United States of America offers a sincere apology to those of our citizens who were subjected to these experiments, to their families, and to their communities. When the government does wrong, we have a moral responsibility to admit it. The duty we owe to one another to tell the truth and to protect our fellow citizens from excesses like these is one we can never walk away from. Our government failed in that duty, and it offers an apology to the survivors and their families, and to all the American people who must be able to rely upon the United States to keep its word, to tell the truth, and to do the right thing. Make no mistake, as the committee report says, there are circumstances where compensation is appropriate as a matter of ethics and principle. I am committed to seeing to it that the United States of America lives up to its responsibility. Our greatness is measured not only in how we so frequently do right, but also how we act when we know we've done the wrong thing, how we confront our mistakes, make our apologies, and take action. That's why this morning I signed an executive order instructing every arm and agency of our government that conducts, supports, or regulates research involving human beings to review immediately their procedures in light of the recommendations of this report and the best knowledge and standards available today, and to report back to me by Christmas.
My name is Shelly Carter. I'm the mom of a trafficking, MKUltra, and satanic ritual abuse survivor named Allie Carter. I'm disgusted with the mishandling of Congress's congressional hearing on June 30th regarding MKUltra programming. I would expect our elected leaders to take it a bit more seriously about the crimes against humanity that are happening on American soil and have been for decades. Because they chose to regurgitate old information and to gaslight the American public, I'm calling myself virtually to the floor of Congress. My name is Shelly Ray Carter. I solemnly swear that the truth that I'm about to tell is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. To be considered an expert in any field or subject, you have to spend 10 years or 10,000 hours at work in that subject, learning about it, first-hand experience, etc. By that criteria, I am considered an expert in the field of MKUltra and weaponized DID and American MKUltra. I have spent greater than 10 years and greater than 10,000 hours face-to-face dealing with Allie's MK Ultra, her satanic ritual abuse, and her DID. I also hold a master's in psychology, and I could also be considered, if we were in a court of law, I could be considered a first-hand witness from the things that I've witnessed and experienced myself through her, about her MK Ultra and her DID.
Like I love your work. So it's like, all these heavyweights, like, Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., everybody, and at the end is like me, like, like, hey, happy to be here, guys. And some other supporting guys, and then Tom Cruise walks in. And even those guys are like, whoa, he's super stoked to be there. It's like, yeah, oh. Like. He's immediately excited when he walks into a room. And he's like trying to place me, The guy, I love your work. And I went, oh, thanks. I love your work too. Thanks. And Seth Rogen was like, it was amazing. He has like a bike track in his backyard.
The whole focus of the congressional hearing on June 30th was for Nazi-era MK Ultra. Nazi-era MK Ultra is old and it's archaic, and it was a failed experiment. MK Ultra was perfected and it flourished when the United States of America brought 1,600 mad scientists onto our soil and gave them free rein to run their experiments and do their evil. The Nazi Germany formula for their MK Ultra was to use LSD on grown men to trigger a hallucination that they were hoping to program, or write a script over top of that hallucination. That was a failed experiment because, number one, hallucinations are hard to have a baseline. Sometimes you might be able to induce hallucinations in somebody that might be colorful and bright and cheery, and other times they are dark and evil and scary. So it was very difficult to create a baseline in hallucinations. As any evil scientist would know, you need a baseline so you can recreate your evil. And that wasn't the case with Nazi Germany MK Ultra. Another reason Germany MK Ultra was problematic is that they were using grown men. Grown men usually have their mind set up, they have life experiences, and it's really hard to overwrite a script or a program or steal their free will when they already have set patterns and set beliefs in place. When the U.S. government brought those 1,600 scientists onto our soil and gave them free rein, they used that same formula to program, to use American MK Ultra programming. However, they changed the variables. Instead of using LSD, they figured out that they could use trauma, satanic ritual abuse, and torture to create the same effect. And instead of using adult or grown men, they learned that they could use children who had little to no life experience, nothing to draw on, no set personality in place, that they could split their psyche with the trauma and the torture and create a blank slate where they could write a whole program on. This created the baseline that they were looking for, that they could repeat en masse, and they did. And American MK Ultra has flourished in the United States ever since. American MK Ultra is weaponized dissociative identity disorder, which also is known as multiple personality disorder. They learned how to create dissociative identity disorder and weaponize it, and it's called MK Ultra. It's done here on American soil. It's been being done for decades on American soil. There are tens of millions of survivors of all ages on our soil, and it's continuing to be done today. American MK Ultra links directly to child sex trafficking, child slavery, and by its very definition is crimes against humanity. American MK Ultra programming also links directly to Congress and the Office of the President. Codes are held by members of Congress to trigger MK Ultra survivors. Codes are held by the Office of the President to trigger MK Ultra survivors. Our government and our military are complicit in crimes against humanity on American soil. I'm calling for the resignation of every member of Congress who refuses to address the crimes against humanity, who refuses to do a full investigation, who refuses to make arrests and do what needs to be done to put a stop to this evil in our country and the evil against our children. Representative Burleson, you were concerned about the bread being poisoned and inciting hallucinations for the Nazi Germany era MK Ultra. I want to know why you're not concerned with the MK Ultra that's being done on American soil. Why are you not asking how the DID was weaponized? Why are you not looking to see the size of the MK Ultra army that was created on American soil and the number of children that were used and disposed of? Representative Mace, you asked the men, O'Neill and Kinzer, what was the worst thing they witnessed in the commission of MK Ultra from Nazi Germany? I could give you a first-hand account of the most horrific things that I've witnessed Allie go through. One was a flashback where she was being split, where her psyche was being split after trauma and torture done to her body. She screamed in pain. It looked like somebody reached into her heart and pulled her soul from her body. That's what splitting looks like. That's what MK Ultra looks like. In addition to that, 4 of Allie's alters were nearly drowned in a near-death drowning experience because they were using it in the commission of MK Ultra. They were trying to weaponize DID. They were trying to cause enough pain, trauma, and torture in her psyche that it would split so the programmers doing the drowning could find that clean slate of a new altar and write a script over it. Rep Luna, you asked if Ruby was an MK Ultra asset. Again, you were focusing on German MK Ultra. I'm worried about the American MK Ultra that's happening on our soil. Those are two different things. Germany can worry about Germany's problems. We need to worry about our problems. But by the patterns that I've seen, evil follows patterns. Yes, they probably were MK Ultra assets. They fit the patterns. It was stated that Jolly West and Ruby both had a psychotic break, that Jolly West did not recognize his wife, even though there was no drug-induced stupor that he could account for the reason why he didn't recognize his wife. But everything that you said fits DID. It fits weaponized DID, dissociative identity disorder. That's what happens in the commission of MK Ultra. Representative Boebert, you were asking how MK Ultra was funded. Slush funds, fraud. We're uncovering tons of fraud in the United States of America. MK Ultra hid behind those. You also said that MK Ultra ended in 1973. In 1973, MK Ultra went underground and continued to flourish. In 1974, CPS was created. CPS required funding. CPS also provided an endless supply of test subjects in the form of children. Representative Perry, you asked about the ages of the children that were being used. O'Neill told you they were probably, likely, maybe, possibly older teens. I'm going to call bullshit on that. The MK Ultra that's done in America, that's been done on American soil, uses children. The younger the better. They use infants. They use newborns because the programming holds better. They're able to write a better script that is unshakable and unable to be broken. American MK Ultra has also been used on the masses. It was used during 9/11. It was used during COVID. So these crimes against humanity touch every living human being in the United States of America and abroad. With all disrespect to every seated member of Congress, I see no urgency in you. I see no seriousness in you about solving this problem, about addressing the crimes against humanity, about doing the research. I see gaslighting and games, and I'm about sick of it. These programs were done in schools, in hospitals, in prisons, in CPS, in juvenile hall, in boys' homes, in girls' homes, in daycares, elementary schools, and any other place where there are children. There will be MK Ultra programming going on at some degree. And if you want to know how I know that, my daughter was trafficked to many and programmed in many of those same places. Those places are also deemed somebody's territory, meaning somebody owns that territory. They own the rights to program there. Ask me how I know. I don't know if Congress is deliberately creating a disconnect between what happened in Nazi Germany with the MK Ultra and trying to keep the eyes and the focus off the United States of America and the MK Ultra that's happening here, but those are apples and oranges. Those are two separate things. Germany can worry about Germany. I'm asking our elected officials to worry about the crimes against humanity being committed here today as we speak. And while I am still under oath, let me say that my daughter was trafficked to the Obamas, to Joe Biden, to Oprah Winfrey, who acted as a Ghislaine Maxwell at the party my daughter was taken to. I have a list a mile long of sports stars, of Hollywood, all the way down to programmers that were living in everyday neighborhoods next to everyday people in Rialto, California, in Retchie Canyon, California. A lot of these programmers had access to your schools, which would consider them that their territory. Administrators with keys to the school, private daycares where an influx of children are coming through. There are hundreds of ways that children are being accessed and programmed. Once again, to every member of Congress, I am asking to speak to you face to face. I am asking for you guys to sit down with the survivors and hear what they have to say and move with urgency on behalf of the crimes against humanity that are being done on American soil. To every survivor, I'm asking you guys to stand up and be counted. You know how this goes. Most of the people in Congress are either MK Ultra or are MK Ultra-ing other people. You know how this goes. If we're ever going to make change, you guys are going to have to stand up and fight. I will stand with you. I will not leave you. We will stand together, but I'm asking you to stand up and be counted. I realized early on with Allie, when I started seeing the depth of the things that she had gone through, that there was nobody coming for us. There was no help coming for us. That's still the case today. There's no help coming. They're not coming. They're gaslighting and they're playing games. So if there's going to be any help, we need to appeal to the American people who have some sense. God bless.